Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me and see the screen and hear the music. We're about to see a big uptick in earthquake and volcanic activity. This will be a good comparison to what we're seeing in 30 or 45 days. Alright, love you. Thank you, darling. Thank you, Lois. Alright, shout out to everyone, guys. James Kaufman, World News Report today. Today is July 11th, 2025. God bless you and yours. No matter where you are in the world, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Ring that bell for critical future updates. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kind of give ourselves a baseline because today is the day I promised that we'd see the start of an uptick in earthquake and volcanic activity that would last 60 to 90 days. And that's all going to be based on planetary position within our solar system. Okay? So with that said, we're going to start out taking a look at the volcanoes here at volcanodiscovery.denmark. Take a look at the volcanoes that are under eruption and minor eruption. Minor eruption will be in orange, full on eruption will be in red. And ladies and gentlemen, I think the last number was around 80, maybe plus or minus a little bit. I think it was plus 80. So we're going to above sea level only. And this is according to volcanodiscovery.denmark, not me, and not other, systems. And, only about 27 to 29% of Earth is above sea level. So y'all can imagine how many volcanoes are below the sea level that are actually going off as well. And what are they expelling? Methane. If y'all saw my earlier video on the methane satellite that all of a sudden failed after 12 months in space, I think y'all will get a good idea of what's going on here. We have a lot of methane, and since they were actually sharing that data with the public, they had to get rid of that satellite, or we would have been able to see all of the volcanoes waking up on the west coast of the U.S. and really everywhere around the world. So all of a sudden, the brand new satellite lost communications and they'll never be able to contact it again. I thought it was so humorous. They finally admitted that methane, is more of a byproduct of oil and gas, or really the earth, not farts, not anything like that, okay? That's just all crap to keep y'all busy. Now, hopefully everyone will guess how many volcanoes we have erupting currently, and it will take me a second to count them out, and hopefully I get it close. I hope to get it right on top. And I've got 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, it looks like we have 78 rolling tonight. So I don't know if we counted Erebus, so it could be 79. So I'm not quite sure if we did count it, but we're going to go with 79 because I don't think I counted it. And this is the beginning of an uptick. And the uptick's going to be based on the planetary positions. And I will show y'all. No one really does their homework but me, I feel like. If we look at RCA's research on solar flares, they actually did this research for the military, and this was back in the 30s and 40s, and they were able to predict right around 85 to 96% of all solar flares based on where the planets were located. So planetary positions are a huge part of what's happening with our sun. Pardon me. And they did this for the military because, well, they wanted to make sure that they'd have radio communication if they were going to pull off a big operation. And I did a video on it with all their diagrams, but I don't know if that's going to be available right now. All right, we're going to jump into earthquakes. Looks like we had one earthquake being reported today in Canada. No, two being reported today, very small. 1.6 magnitude at 5 kilometers. That very well could be drilling in that area right there. Doing a lot of drilling in British Columbia. This is a little bit more peculiar. The depth of 15.1 kilometers, the magnitude of 2.3. Really not part of the volcanic activity or range over here. Not part of the Cascadia, which all this is lined up on the Cascadia subduction zone, or the Juan de Fuca plate, as y'all might know it. Y'all been keeping up. Jumping over to, well, volcanoesandearthquakes.com. Take a look at some of the biggest earthquakes of the day. Nothing to speak of, but remember, we're using this as a baseline for what's about to happen. Look at that. That 5-0 right there. Right there, and that's going to be right where I told y'all. Whew, the GNC right here. And now we have a new Santorini volcano is awakening in the GNC. I believe that that is where the Bible predicts the large earthquake will occur, and that will send the tidal wave to wipe out all of the armies surrounding Israel and wipe out all of Israel. That's just around the corner. You need to read your Bible. Don't turn around and grab your coat or shawl, whatever it says. Run for the highest mountain. Well, that's because there's a tidal wave that's going to be caused by all one of them's going to blow. It's going to be a huge earthquake. An earthquake, according to the Bible, like we've never seen before, which would be a 9.9. I think the biggest one we've seen is a 9.6, a 9.7, 8, 9.9. So a 9.7 is 10 times stronger than 9.6. A 9.8 is 10 times stronger than a 9.7. So you can see once we get up into the higher numbers, we're talking about big jumps. Big jumps to get higher. All right, we can see all the awakening volcanoes in yellow, all the eruptions, minor eruptions in orange, and all the major eruptions in red. We can see that we have magma moving. Usually that's what a volcano means, unless we see it on a plate tectonic boundary, which Most of these are both. They're both on a volcano and a plate tectonic boundary. Those are your two go-tos. They're either on a plate tectonic boundary with movement of that plate, or they're under one of these volcanoes that's awakening. That's magma pushing towards the surface. So we have a 5-1 there, a 5-3 here, all in Indonesia. We have a 5-5 there. That's the biggest quake on the planet as of today. A 5-1 here, up in Japan, a 5-0. And just for funsies, guys, this is so dangerous here, with I believe around 45 nuclear power plants here, and we have Tawada volcano opening up right on top of Fukushima. Right on top of Fukushima, that still has not been resolved since 2011. And you can see we're having a swarm in that area there. Fukushima's going to be right about there. Now we'll see if there's anything important. This is where they call it the Sea of California. It is really the Sea of Cortez here. It's splitting and opening up into California. Eventually it'll open up into the Valley of California, which will probably have already been flooded. And these quakes here, the 4.0s, 4.1s, etc., are the magma under these volcanoes. It's in Mexico City, the southern volcanoes surrounding Mexico City. I used to live in District Federal, so I know it well. And these are magma movements under all the volcanoes in Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, and all the way down to Colombia, where we see so many volcanoes awakening, others in minor eruption, others in major eruption, and magma moving. This is right on the plate tectonic boundary, and once I put everything on, just trying to take a look at the bigger quakes right now. Look at Iceland. We have 2 volcanoes in minor eruption. There's over 200 active volcanoes in that little bitty spot they call Iceland. We have 2 more awakening, and I believe that they've both been active before, so it's not that they're awakening for the first time even this year. Over in Italy, that's gone off this year. Stromboli, of course, Etna's gone off this year. See if I can zoom in anymore. Looks like we have another volcano. We can just get to it. Stromboli's gone off this year. And Volcano has not really gone off this year. Once I put all the quakes on, we see a lot of magma movement, but we're going to go over the larger ones first. There's actually 2 right here in the Dominican Republic. Where is South Sudan? Let's get a look. There's Sudan, and here is South Sudan right here. This is where we're dropping the prisoners. I think it's completely epic. Why? Because that's South Sudan is part of the Congo rainforest. The chances of survival are about 0. Okay? I think it's completely epic, and God bless America. If their home countries won't even take them, I'm glad that South Sudan, needs something to feed the lions, right? I mean, after all, that's what we're doing, right? Taking care of the wildlife here. All right, y'all can see with just 4.0s wrapped around Indonesia, it's just going off. Y'all can see parts of Zealandia rising. I will show y'all what that looks like. And we'll get some images of Zealandia. I believe it to be a little bit bigger than this, more like this. Zealandia is a continent right off the coast of Australia. The well, east coast of Australia that's rising up, and we'll see a few small islands. They try to call themselves continents, like like New Zealand, etc. on this. Now, New Zealand's trying to make a land grab, saying that this is their continental shelf, but of course, they're not even a continent, so how could they have a continental shelf? Now, let's see if I can get a picture that really shows you more of what I believe we're looking at here. Everyone's got a different idea of what's rising out of the ocean. I believe it goes from Tonga all the way down south of New Zealand, all the way up around to Papua New Guinea. I don't see any outstanding maps here. You can see that's Fiji and Tonga. That goes over to Papua New Guinea there. That's New Caledonia. That's an island there. And this is New Zealand. And they're all trying to make a land grab. New Zealand for this part in orange, saying that it's their continental shelf. So that, of course, they can enjoy the minerals, oil and gas, and other minerals within that continental shelf. The problem is they're not a continent, not as promised or as labeled. All right, and that is this area down here. You can see it. All right, all the way around to the Philippines, we have swarm right here under these volcanoes in Japan. 5 O's and smaller, and then we have a swarm all the way up to, watch this, well, this is going to be Fukushima, look right there, and I did not know there was a volcano right there. This even makes me wonder what they're doing more. There's the Fukushima, that's the nuclear facility that blew up in 2011, and we still haven't been able to grab the rods, and they're actually pouring in is it 1 million tons of radioactive water into the Pacific every day to cool those rods? Something ridiculous. You can see how busy the Russian peninsula is. We've got definitely a couple volcanoes awakening up here on the Aleutian Islands here, and on the peninsula of Alaska. It's going to be Mount Spur. Mount Hayes is right here. Mount Hayes being much more famous for all the alien stories and, well, Pat Price, the remote viewer, and everything else that's going on over there. Hawaii's finally got Kilauea going off again. And this is White Volcano. Watch this. And this is White Volcano. Why would they name two the same right there? I don't know. This is Erebus Volcano here. For some reason, Google has actually covered all this up, so we can't see what's really happening throughout any of this area. Erebus is said to create 6,000 ounces of gold per day. It just flies out the top of it. So I'm sure they're down there running around picking it up, but everything's on the low down here. This is McMurdo Station. You would think that we'd be able to see what was going on, but I mean, they've even taken like this out. Look, all this has been taken out. These are sea mounds, volcanoes. Taking all this out. It's all been smeared. There's got to be a reason for it. Got to be a reason for it. We say, Daryl, good to see you. Hey, Miss Kathy. Jerome, Isaiah 41:4. What's that one say, Jerome? Jerome, do you want to do a reading for us tonight? If so, I got to charge my phone. Let me know right now so I can bend over and charge my phone when we're done with this. If you don't, I understand. All right. Now, I haven't even turned on anything but the 4.0s and stronger, okay? We're going to go ahead and turn them all on now. Alright, we're going to see that Japan has... Alright, well, let me grab my phone. Just 1 second, guys. Get a little juice to it for a second from now. Alright, we'll let it charge while I continue. Because I always really am missing the readings and appreciate a good reading. I am wearing headphones now. I have a soundboard now. And I'm not drinking. So I hope it's not too boring of a show, but y'all can see the conglomerate or swarm around where we have the North American plate, the Pacific plate, the Eurasia plate, and the Indonesia plate all meeting right there by Tokyo. There's 2 spots right there where the plates do not connect there. We have a swarm here on Japan and a swarm all the way around the Philippines, all the way around Indonesia. And then when we run down to New Zealand, we have a swarm over White Volcano all the way up to Tonga. There's Tofu. Let me see if I can grab it. And home reef volcano, Tonga Islands. Tonga Islands. Alright. Wouldn't y'all rather me be yelling? Going crazy? It's hard to do that. Alright, so what we have going on the peninsula in Russia, it looks pretty active to me. See if we can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 volcanoes erupted on that peninsula. And then the Aleutian Islands, 2 more here. That volcanic range goes right into what? Kilauea and all the other volcanoes there in Hawaii. It's a very active day. I'm about to show you what's going on in, of course. Alright, this is what I want to show you first. Now, I did tell y'all this was going to happen. Really, I didn't tell y'all. Our Bible told y'all this was going to happen. I just read it, or tried to read it, and I realized that the earthquake, it's like no other earthquake. I believe the biggest earthquake ever recorded is a 9.6. And that earthquake was in Chile, right off the coast of Chile. There's been much more deadlier earthquakes, but I believe that's the biggest magnitude earthquake. And, well, a 9.7 or 8, a 9.7 would be 10 times greater than 9.6. A 9.8 would be 10 times greater than 9.7. A 9.9 would be 10 times greater than that. And the scale ends at 10.0, 10 times greater than that. So it would be this area here. All right, real quickly, we're not going to do the U.S. here. That's fracking. That's fracking right there, Kansas. This has to do with the one break right there in the San Andreas, the North American Pacific Plate. I'll show you in a second. Like they have one quake up there in Ashford, Washington. It's going to be like 70 or something crazy. It's going off. All this activity here in Central America, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, starts in Mexico City at